Hello, passionate Celtic FC fans. This is Celtic Central News, your exclusive source for Celtic updates. Before we kick off, we appreciate the incredible support. If you love Celtic, subscribe now, hit like, and let's build this community together. Now, onto the latest news. A warm welcome to new subscribers. Your support is crucial. Hail, hail. When the whispers first began swirling around the name of young Lennon Miller, most folk across Scotland assumed it would be another tug of war between the usual giants, and truth be told, that's exactly what unfolded behind closed doors. The lad has been tipped as one of the brightest midfield prospects to emerge from our game in years, and the word drifting through the corridors of power was that Rangers were quietly confident of getting their man. Yet football, as we know, has a funny way of flipping a script when you least expect it. While the Ibrox side were believed to be laying groundwork, speaking to representatives, and mapping out a pathway, another force in Glasgow were watching, calculating, waiting for the right moment to strike. And that's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Because just when it looked like the blue half of the city might be inching ahead, the green and white machine began to move with intent, with ambition, and perhaps with a promise too enticing for a young midfielder to ignore. Inside the walls of Celtic, there's long been a belief that the next great era will be built not only on seasoned internationals, but on fearless young Scots ready to take center stage. Lennon Miller fits that mold almost perfectly. Composed on the ball, brave in possession, and blessed with that rare ability to dictate tempo beyond his years, he's not just another academy graduate hoping for minutes. The speculation now is that Celtic's recruitment team painted a vision for him that went far beyond squad depth. They reportedly laid out a roadmap, development, European nights under the lights, and a midfield role that could one day be his to command. For a player standing at the crossroads of his early career, that kind of clarity can be decisive. And as murmurs grow louder, it seems the green side of Glasgow didn't just match interest from elsewhere. They eclipsed it with conviction and long-term planning that might well define the lad's future. What makes this rumor even more compelling is the suggestion that Rangers believe they were leading the race for a significant stretch of time. Sources close to the situation hint that informal assurances and positive talks had created genuine optimism at Ibrox. The idea of Miller anchoring the midfield for years to come was beginning to excite sections of the support. But negotiations in modern football are rarely straightforward. Agents weigh options, families consider stability, and clubs present contrasting philosophies. Somewhere along that delicate balancing act, momentum appears to have shifted. Celtic, it said, emphasized opportunity over pressure, development over expectation. They reportedly highlighted how other young talents have flourished in their system before stepping onto even bigger stages. For a player still shaping his identity in the professional game, that reassurance might have carried enormous weight. Suddenly, what seemed like a straightforward auction became a silent chess match, and Celtic's patience may have delivered the decisive move. There's also the financial dimension, though no official figures have been disclosed and none are likely to surface in full. What's being whispered is that Celtic structured an offer designed not merely to win a bidding war, but to secure long-term commitment. Rather than a short-sighted splash, the club are believed to have focused on progression incentives, performance-based growth, and a clear trajectory into the first team. Rangers, on the other hand, may have prioritized immediate integration amid competitive pressures. That subtle difference in approach could have tilted the scales. Footballers, especially young ones, often choose the path that promises steady elevation rather than instant spotlight. If the speculation holds true, Miller saw in Celtic not just a contract, but a narrative. A chance to grow into the heartbeat of a midfield rather than be thrown into a furnace too soon. And in a rivalry where symbolism matters deeply, losing out on such a talent stings beyond mere transfer strategy. From a stylistic standpoint, it's easy to understand why Celtic would push hard for him. The modern game demands midfielders who can operate between lines, switch play with confidence, and maintain composure under relentless pressing. Observers who've tracked Miller's rise speak about his maturity, his scanning of the pitch before receiving the ball, and his willingness to shoulder responsibility in tight areas. Those attributes align beautifully with Celtic's evolving identity. The rumor mill suggests that coaches within the club view him as a long-term successor to established figures, someone who can be molded into the orchestrator of future campaigns. That's not a role handed out lightly. It requires trust, patience, and belief. If Celtic truly conveyed that vision to him, it would represent more than a transfer victory. It would symbolize a strategic capture of Scotland's midfield future, one that could shape narratives for seasons to come. For Rangers supporters, this alleged outcome will inevitably provoke frustration, perhaps even disbelief. Missing out on a local prodigy to your fiercest rivals always carries emotional weight. Yet in the broader picture, this saga underscores the razor-thin margins in elite recruitment battles. One conversation, one presentation, one feeling of alignment can redirect a career. As things stand, the strong rumor is that Lennon Miller is poised to wear green and white, stepping into a project designed to nurture and elevate him into the commanding presence many predict he'll become. Nothing has been carved in stone publicly, and until ink meets paper, speculation remains just that. But if the whispers prove accurate, Celtic may have secured not just a signing, but a statement. A declaration that the future of Scottish midfield dominance could be forming quietly in their ranks, while Rangers are left to reflect on an opportunity that slipped through their grasp. As the rumor gathers pace, there's a growing sense that this potential move could ripple far beyond the immediate transfer headlines. Within the corridors of Celtic, the belief is said to be that Lennon Miller would not arrive merely as a promising squad addition, but as a cornerstone for a new cycle. The club's hierarchy have reportedly been determined to reinforce the spine of the team with Scottish identity, blending technical assurance with emotional connection to the badge. Miller, still at a tender age in footballing terms, embodies that dual promise. The whispers suggest he was presented with footage, tactical breakdowns, and a projection of how he could evolve into the metronome of the side. That kind of detailed planning speaks volumes. It tells a young player he is not just wanted, but studied, valued, and central to something bigger than himself. If that narrative truly resonated, then this was less about outbidding a rival and more about outthinking them at a pivotal moment. Meanwhile, across the city, the mood around Rangers is believed to be one of quiet introspection rather than public frustration. There's talk that those involved felt confident in their pitch, confident in the pathway they could provide. Yet footballing decisions often hinge on subtleties invisible to supporters. Perhaps it was the promise of gradual integration rather than immediate expectation. Perhaps it was the allure of European exposure framed in a specific developmental context. Or perhaps it was simply a feeling, that intangible instinct players rely on when choosing the next chapter of their careers. Losing out on a midfielder of Miller's profile is not merely about depth, it's about symbolism. It suggests that in this particular contest of vision and persuasion, Rangers may have misread the emotional temperature of the situation, allowing their rivals to edge ahead at the decisive hour. There's also a broader narrative unfolding about the direction of Scottish football's brightest talents. For years, clubs have battled not only domestically but against interest from abroad when nurturing elite prospects. The fact that this saga appears to have been settled within Glasgow, rather than drifting south or overseas, adds another layer of intrigue. If Lennon Miller truly commits to Celtic, it signals that the club's project is persuasive enough to anchor ambition at home before launching it onto continental stages. That strategy can be powerful. Develop locally, compete fiercely, and then expand horizons from a position of strength. The suggestion is that Celtic articulated exactly that pathway, portraying themselves as both incubator and amplifier of talent. In doing so, they may have tapped into Miller's desire to grow steadily while remaining at the heart of Scotland's most intense rivalry, rather than becoming a peripheral figure elsewhere too soon. Tactically, the potential implications are fascinating. Celtic have been striving to maintain fluidity in midfield, seeking players capable of balancing defensive awareness with progressive passing. Observers believe Miller's natural intelligence on the pitch allows him to anticipate transitions before they fully unfold. That quality, rare for someone so young, could make him invaluable in high-tempo encounters. The rumor suggests coaching staff view him as someone who can be gradually entrusted with greater responsibility, learning to control rhythm without being burdened prematurely. It's a delicate calibration. Throw him in too quickly and risk stalling growth. Hold him back excessively and risk dulling his edge. The alleged plan is said to strike a middle ground, offering meaningful involvement while protecting long-term development. If executed properly, it could transform him into the midfield general many scouts have predicted, shaping the club's identity for years. Emotionally, too, this story carries weight. Transfers between rival spheres always amplify tension, even when direct movement isn't involved. The idea that Rangers were strongly positioned before being overtaken adds a sting to the narrative. Supporters invest hope in these pursuits, imagining future captains and iconic performances long before contracts are signed. When those dreams pivot towards the other side of the divide, disappointment naturally follows. Yet from a neutral standpoint, it underlines the ruthless precision required in modern recruitment. Celtic's alleged persistence, patience, and clarity may have proven decisive. They appear to have read not only the player's abilities but his ambitions, crafting a message that aligned seamlessly with both. In a battle defined by fine margins, alignment often outweighs urgency. As it stands, nothing has been officially unveiled, and until scarves are raised and photographs taken, speculation will continue to swirl. But the prevailing whisper is that Lennon Miller's future is painted in green and white rather than blue. Should that come to pass, it will be remembered as more than a transfer coup. It will be framed as a strategic victory in the ongoing chess match between Glasgow's giants. For Celtic, it would represent foresight and persuasive power. For Rangers, a reminder that confidence does not guarantee closure. And for Scottish football as a whole, it would signal that the next midfield heartbeat of the nation might soon be pulsing from the east end of Glasgow, nurtured carefully, deliberately, and with the weight of expectations steadily building around his young shoulders. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. What's adding even more intrigue to this unfolding rumor is the suggestion that senior figures within Celtic see Lennon Miller as more than just a footballing asset. They reportedly view him as a cultural bridge between generations. There's talk that conversations weren't limited to tactics and minutes on the pitch, but extended into leadership potential, character assessment, and long-term influence within the dressing room. For a midfielder, that's significant. The heart of the park is where personality often shapes performance, where composure can steady chaos and intelligence can dictate outcomes without fanfare. The speculation hints that Celtic's recruitment team emphasized how iconic midfielders in their history carved legacies not only through skill, but through presence. If Miller absorbed that message, he may have begun picturing himself not simply wearing the shirt, but embodying its responsibilities. That emotional resonance can be decisive for a young Scot weighing two monumental options within the same city. On the other side of the divide, the silence from Rangers has been telling, at least according to those who thrive on reading between the lines. There's no public admission of defeat, no dramatic statement, but insiders whisper that the club believed their sporting project spoke loudly enough on its own. Perhaps they trusted momentum would carry them through. Yet in elite negotiations, certainty can quietly erode if not reinforced at every step. It only takes a single compelling presentation, a single vision delivered with conviction, to recalibrate a young player's priorities. If this narrative proves accurate, Rangers may look back on this episode as a lesson in timing rather than ambition. They were in the race, reportedly strong contenders, yet the finishing stride belonged elsewhere. In rivalries defined by psychological edges, that matters almost as much as trophies or points tallied over a campaign. Ultimately, should Lennon Miller indeed take his next steps in green and white, the symbolism will echo loudly across Scottish football. It would suggest that the balance of persuasion, at least in this instance, tipped decisively towards Celtic's blueprint for nurturing elite talent. The rumor paints a picture of meticulous planning triumphing over assumption, of patience overcoming early confidence. And for the player himself, it frames the beginning of a journey laden with expectation, yet rich in opportunity. Midfield is where matches are controlled, where identity is forged, and where future captains often emerge. If Miller fulfills even a portion of the promise many attach to his name, this alleged transfer saga will be remembered as the moment Glasgow's eternal rivalry extended beyond the pitch and into the shaping of tomorrow's heartbeat in the center of the park. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.